ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीं अष्टादशाध्यायिनीं अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरगुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all. We are deliberating verses from the 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In the last class, the whole of the class we dedicated to impress upon ourselves the meaning of or the distinction between knowledge and this special knowledge, Vishesha Jnana, Jnana and Vijnana. One simple difference again to point it out. Sri Ramakrishna takes that example. So, like he says that it is called as this Vedantis, or especially Advaitavadis, whose bent of mind is very much towards Jnana Yoga. They use this path. This path is called this Neti Neti, this way. So, they go on doing this Viveka, this discrimination, that I am not this. So, the object of inquiry is to find out what is the real nature of the self. So, I am not this body because it is subject to change, and so also I am not this fourfold inner instrument called Antakarana. I am not Mana, I am not Buddhi, I am not Chitta, Ahankar, etc. because they are subject to change, whereas I is constant, so that constant cannot be changed. So, because constant has to be the perceptor of change. Do you follow this idea? Like, see, suppose we are traveling in a bus, okay? So, people who are in the bus, they are not experiencing motion or change of place with respect to each other, alright? Only the so those who are involved in the change, they cannot map, read or measure the change. So, to measure the change, one has to be out of the process of the change, then only change is measured. Something which is comparatively constant by that entity. Do you get this idea? So, when it is always changing, everything it is subject to, it is in a constant flux, it is a constant state of change, whereas I is constant, so I must not be the change. I is something which is beyond the change, which is changeless. So, who I am. So, not this, not body, not mind, not chitta, not ahankar, etc. The entity, then after this discrimination, this is not discrimination, just talking. I am not body, I am not mind, also made. Now, this part is very important. This is called the deification. So, you reject everything, you renounce, you are disgusted with every other things. Vairagya have many times this kind of negative tone to it. And to reinforce that idea, not to get your mind attracted and pulled and carried away by the instruments of this world, many people or this literature, like they portray, or it's a way of putting it to that spiritual aspirant, to make them aware of the dangers. Like many times you might have heard in a Stri Narak ka Dwar hai. So feminist will immediately rise, how misogynistic you fellows, and and all sorts of things will start. है कि नहीं? पर जो पुरुष मतलब स्त्री की तरफ समझो आकर्षित हो रहा है, उसके लिए नरक का द्वार है, अगर वो स्पिरिचुअल एस्पिरेंट है तो. If he really wants to go beyond that, then he cannot feed this demon. He cannot feed this demon because it is binding. So if he want to go to liberated, तो उसके लिए evidently thinking in those terms, he cannot go. He cannot feed that. So it depends upon the spiritual. So in strong words, like I had heard. So pratishtha means in another somewhere it was probably जीवन मुक्ति विवेक, like pratishtha shukari vishtha. Shukar matlab sewer, this pig, and it is considered as very unholy because it lives in very unhygienic way, and it is very ugly and very abhorrent thing, and its filth, its stool. Now pratishtha, which people covet beyond so many things. Can you imagine? Even wealth is nothing. Even your family and these people, this is nothing. People long for it so much, pratishtha. And it is comparing these people of the old, they are comparing that pratishtha is like shukari vishtha. So strong language is used, so for the people, so think in that way. Even Sri Ramakrishna also has used, there are analogies. Now, so when there is the idea of vairagya, idea of this renouncing, because your mind is pulled and scattered by the desires, so you have to withdraw the mind. That is the plan, that is the template. If it does not happen very naturally to you, then you will have to work on it. There is no much scope other than that. What is naturally happening? There are individuals, there is that light or that Atman, it is so evident, there is so little ignorance, so it very naturally pulls them towards it. Everything happens very as a fallout of that. They do not have to deliberately try it. So those individuals are different. For all other peoples, they try to discipline themselves, self-discipline themselves, try to live such a life so as to train them in this business. The principal objective is to tame your mind, to control your mind, to be able to discipline your mind. As much any individual does, that individual is benefited, society is benefited. Sense of self-restraint is developed. Whereas what we see, on the contrary, in the society, that licentious behavior, whatever I want to do, I should be able to do. That is freedom. Do, talk, think, whatever. So, think like I am this with gender. I am identifying as myself as the bottle, so this is my gender. So, you can think and you can have your own gender. So, now this vairagya, so this negative connotation of it. So Sri Ramakrishna says that the real wisdom, in the realized soul, we do not see disgust, abhorrence, negative attitudes towards life. Because this chapter, Brahma Yoga, it is discussing the idea of how to pass away. I had said in the last class that it is sometimes it is called as, this is not Hindu religion or Vedanta, is not pro-life. I explain it why probably there is some truth and what is our position. What do we understand? Why do we take such position? Now, so in this form, when that person he says this is not that thing, this is not the way. When he comes down, deification means he says the stairs are made up of the same stuff as the roof, implying that this whole world which you had been refraining to engage with or withdrawing your mind from, you see that it is nothing but God. That person realizes it is not belief, it is not talk, it is the perception, direct perception, that he sees there exists nothing but God. That Brahmajnani, when he sees and then he interacts, engages with world with this new vision, with this new attitude. We see in the life of Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj, he was the second president of the Ramakrishna order. If any person used to come to him, he used to make him such a devoutful pranam, people used to get embarrassed that he is a Brahmagyani Mahapurush and he is doing such, like he was old that time sitting, but he was a very tall, big person. So in sitting in that chair, somebody is to come, is to folding his both hands and is to bend down his head. And then somebody to say, Swamiji, why do you do that? He says, what to do? When any individual comes, I see the form of God. And unless I do this pranam, that form of God does not disappear. How do I talk to this person who has come? So unless I do pranam to that Narayana, that will not disappear. Without that, I cannot have any business with this person, this man or woman or whosoever. So this is not just legend, this is how people live. The people who comes down from the roof, from that. So this is the another part, and this exactly is referred by Sri Ramakrishna as Vijnana. Jnana and Vijnana. Now continuing those ideas, here we saw that Arjuna had raised some question because of the idea, the terms which Bhagavan had used in the end part of the previous chapter, 7th chapter. So Bhagavan tried to explain him, and Arjuna especially asked here, so this phrase, so Bhagavan has only said that at the time of passing away, prayana kale. So if somebody knows him along with Adhidaiva, Adhibhuta, Adhiyajna, these three terms he used. At the time of passing away, so they will attain the highest, etc. These they vidur yukta chetasaha. They know me because their chetasa, their consciousness is firmly implanted in the yoga, yukta chetasaha. Now these terms, and along with the three other terms, Brahma, Karma and Adhyatma, he had. Then in the beginning of the next chapter, he asked this question, asked Bhagavan to explain these 6 terms, Brahma, Adhyatma and Karma, and Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva and Adhiyajna. While raising this question, Arjuna asked, Katham kotra dehesmin madhusudana. He asked this he puts this particular condition, dehesmin. What does it mean? It means This yajna, especially what he is talking about, and Bhagwan, he was explaining this idea in context of passing away of an individual, prayana kale. That's why Arjuna puts this condition and asks to explain him with in context of this yajna, in context of this, in the person itself, in this body itself, dehesmin. That's why he asks. So Bhagwan explains this, that what is Brahma, what is your Swabhava, that is Adhyatma, etc. These verses we have taken, what is Karma. And the gist of this thing is, again, that idea of this Virat, Bhagwan says that I am the Adhyajna, that I am the deity presiding over that yajna to which everything, all offerings are being offered. I meaning that consciousness, that within ourselves, that Jiva, that Ishvara within ourselves. So the point being these things, that everything, as if what is going on, there exists nothing but me, and everything is an offering to that deity that resides within the individual, within ourselves. So that was the idea. And then there are a couple of verses, 5th and 6th verse, he had said that in the end, again, who leaves his body remembering me, so he reaches me. There is no doubt in that. Not only that, he says, those people who leave their body, that those who passes away, whatsoever kind of bhava or whatsoever their mind is in that state at the time of passing away. So two such states or two such goals, two such destination, they attain. Tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. So that's why again here it sees, we see that, and there are some other verses after this also in this chapter it comes. So the state of mind at the time of passing away, so it is very important, and because it is going to decide the direction, the what next life we are going to have in which circumstances. You had probably said something. Huh? Okay. Okay. Look, yes, one thing we can understand is very clear. Nothing is going to get cheap. Okay, so anybody says you so, he is trying to put it in a mild way, not to overburden you with the thought. What is happening? Suppose an individual, okay. So because it is a matter of not few days, not few months, not few years, because it is a evolution of several lives together. So after trying also a lot of years, lot many, the whole of life, we see there is very little we can change, very little we travel. This is the experience, conclusion and general observation of the wise folks, or rather anybody can observe that. Because in this travels, in this evolution, we see, as to use Swamiji's words, the spectrum of evolution, how Swamiji uses, at one end there is an amoeba, at other end there is Buddha. So this is the spectrum of evolution. Somewhere we become primate, somewhere we come to become human being, Homo sapiens. Somewhere after spending so many lives, we come to think of deliberate on these verses of the Gita. So my point is that when we consider our efforts now in this spectrum, so we have to become little sensible. So how much a life's worth? That's why I had pointed this out. Why in Hindu mind, in Hindu approach, the time of passing away or how you passes away is very critical and very important. As I said, I had used an analogy like posting. Okay, so once you are posted somewhere, so more or less things are, there is very little. Our scope or our ability to bring change, what we call as free will or self effort, its magnitude is very less as contrast to the factors against which we are placed. So that's why posting means your birth is very important, very, very important. In earlier 6th chapter also Bhagavan had said that, because Arjuna had raised this question, if somebody cannot complete his path, yoga brashta, so whether he will be destroyed like a dispersed cloud? Bhagavan says, no. In the next word, I will give him dadami buddhi yogam tam. He had used that, and he will start his work from there. So your spiritual inclination, whatever your spiritual wealth, that is one part which you have. Important factor is the condition where you are, in the situation you are born into. Whether you will meet appropriate people, they will be conducive, they will train, they will facilitate, and they will hasten this path, your progress. So now that's why Hindus consider birth very important. So birth is important, that's why dying is very important. So now your second idea about liberation, whether Brahma Jnana liberation, etc., etc. So look, why we say that. Now, to understand liberation, we must first have very clear idea of what is bondage. Isn't it? So when we talk about liberation, then we must have very clearer idea what bondage is exactly, what is binding me. Okay. So if we have this clearer idea about bondage, so what exactly bondage? What exactly is bandha? If bandha is there, then there is moksha. So more or less to awaken to this idea of bandha, it comes very fag end of our evolution. Most of the time we are happy with our life, isn't it? Isn't it? More or less, you see, even if you are who is that person so desperate that he has been chained down here and he must become free? Do you see, can we visualize such mindset of an individual? Now that person has fully awakened to the bondage. The person who is imprisoned, man's mind is like that, it is so adaptable, even he will make home there. They will create a new society there. All sorts of things starts there. Long-term imprisonment, we hear these stories. There are movies, there are gangs, there are people who are, prisons. Even in prison, people adapt to that and make it their home. So no matter we think it in this way, because that is what our tragedy is. Now the person who has come nearer to this door of liberation. So he has awakened. What is the bondage? Bondage is this thing. Bondage is this ignorance. Ignorance is what? On the canvas of infinity, you drew a circle and you said, this is me and this is I am not. This duality, as soon as it is conceived, how we do not know. Because infinite cannot be divided. But somehow, as soon as this consciousness is developed, apparently, illusion through Maya, that I am this and rest I am not. Asmad Yushmat. As soon as this consciousness develops, what happened? Immediately your self-interest is born. What is the self-interest? That you must protect yourself, you must propagate yourself, you must fight, you must challenge, you must take over other things to ensure your existence, your dominance, and you should be in charge, etc., etc. So you want your existence, you want all knowledge, you want it to be very enjoyable. So these three things are called, these three are the only pursuits human beings are seeking. They are denoted by Sat, Chit and Ananda. Ananda is not only joy, but the deeper intensified experience wheresoever we have, we always hanker after it. That's why there are what you call people who are provided with plenty of things, who do not have to work to fill their stomachs. They want something to engage with, something enthralling, some thrill they want. And people do all sorts of things. So, so these three, So these three things are the only pursuits human beings are having. That existence, that nothing should challenge, dominate or threaten you. That is Sat. That you should be conscious, aware. This comes, the pursuit of consciousness comes when that individual evolves a lot. Anything in the realm of ignorance is threat, that you do not know. That's why you do not have control. So power is related. The fundamental instrument of power is knowledge. So knowledge you must have. Chit, Sat Chit. And everything this given, if does not fulfill you, content you, let you forget and get inebriated by that, then there is no meaning. That is called as Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda. Rishi says this is the truly the nature of yourself. This is what you are seeking in every small and big endeavor of yours. This is the one thing you are looking for in its absolute essence. You are only having the contaminated and limited versions of it through everywhere else. Unless you get in its true form, in its infinity, you are not going to, your thirst is not going to get quenched. So you must arrive at that. What obstructs is whatever now with this idea of self-interest, idea of protection and propagation. For protection, you want to protect the resources which caters to these aims. And you want to have more resources. So these are the two things. Protect. So there is the idea of bhaya, fear. And there is also the greed. So negative and positive, these two propellers of all our actions. Greed and fear. Lobh and bhaya. They are the propellers of all your actions. In pursuit of this, either acquiring more resources which caters to these ends, or to protect the resources which you already have. These are called as yoga and kshema. Yoga means acquiring more, kshema means protecting this thing. This, as soon as this yoga kshema comes, there are desires, and from desires ensues the actions. As soon as actions goes out, there follows the fruits of those actions. As these actions originates from you as an idea that I am so and so, it is bound to that. These fruits are bound with that entity. They are coming bound to affect that entity. Now this karma and karma phala, this is binding. There is another side of the karma phala. So what inputs you throw into the outer world, they are going to repel and repel back. So that we call as prarabdha. We do not have control over these things. Because it is a huge thing, you are not the only determining factor. You do not have control over these things. So how means, so karma siddhanta does not necessarily say that if you do good actions, many times this is said that if you do good actions, there will be good result. Karma siddhanta does not say that. Bhagavan discourages Arjuna that do not venture into that. That it would be very complex and vast, you cannot find the end of it. Only one person, only other portion of it, the internal portion of it, which we are concerned about, that is called as whenever any action we do, action being in physical or verbal or mental. Okay. So in mental, not only thinking which is deliberate, but also experiencing, because in both cases there is the ego, and whatever reinforces the ego. So this is the common characteristics of the karma. Okay. So they ensues from this ignorance. Ego beings I am so and so, which is based upon this inherent ignorance that I am this, I am not this. Whenever you are asked to define something, how do you define? You define its characteristic. This is like this and this is not like this. This is the definition. Definition means you define. So like I say, on the canvas of this infinity, you drew a circle, you drew a boundary, and you said, this is what I am, this is I am not. So this duality, this ignorance, this is what the inherent nature of the ego. This is what I am, this I sense, this ignorant I. So this is called as ego, this I based on this ignorance. Now all this action ensues from it, karma prarabdha ensues from it. This is binding, you have to take birth. Only now this is bondage. This is the idea of bondage. That even if you want, you cannot get out of it. Even if you are happy, you are sad, you just cannot opt out of this play. You are condemned. You have to play the game. How much ever you might be tired, you have to play the game. There is no way out. कि नहीं भाई मैं थक गया अभी मैं नहीं खेलता, ऐसा नहीं होगा, आपको खेलना ही है. So the idea of liberation comes in here. So they say the only way this jinx can be broken, there is only one way. This ignorance, if this is killed, because this attaches you to this link, then that is the only escape path. So whether that is attainable, yes, it is attainable. Ignorance can be killed, you can have the knowledge. How? Now you say, what is obstructing the knowledge? Knowledge is already there, self-evident. So what is covering it? So now this comes, this internal part of this karma phala. Any action you do, there is prarabdha. That is what you say, the outer fruit. There is inner record of it, what is called as smriti or sanskara. The repository of it is called as your chitta. Now, it is a vast reservoir of whatever you have done since you were amoeba. Since you were amoeba. Okay. But you have, as you go on piling upon it, so there is only functional part of it, rest of it has got into cold hard freezer, which is mostly unavailable. So you do with the upper part of it, you deal with the upper part of it. Okay. Now this sanskara, this is what, it mostly manipulates, it is mostly heavy. Other things are all other faculties like man, buddhi and ahankar, they are just operationals. Like mana, as soon as Indriya provides data. It grows on this pros and cons, sankalpa, vikalpa. That is the nature of mind. It does not have anything back it. Okay, mana. Buddhi, providing these arguments of this mind and comparing with the data provided by the chitta, buddhi decides. Ahankara, on the decision of the buddhi, ahankara chooses to feel happy or sorrowful. These mostly are operational. Only data is having with the chitta. So this is the heaviest part. And now, so even if there is nothing to think about, okay, nothing to think about, it is the chitta which throws something on your mind lake, and again reverse starts. It asks you, if you are getting bored, you do this thing. If you want to do this thing, you are not feeling happy enough, do these things. Slap someone or pour water on somebody's head or something like that. Something like that. So whatever, because mind is always that pursuit of what we call that experience which fulfills him. What we call as happiness, but in the deeper one, that somehow that all its requisites are met and you get that feeling, yes, very nice. So even you are eating something, you are doing, you are talking, you are doing so many things. You are coming to Gita class. Anything you are doing, that you are always looking for it. You are always looking for it. As soon as mind is blank and does not have data, so chitta throws something on the lake. That why don't you try this? Why don't you go on binge eating something? Or something stupid. Why don't you kill yourself? Jump up the roof. Something. So everything this is happening, all karmas or all this. So mind is in constant this flux, constant motion. So taken the example of water in a pond. Suppose there is a coin, okay, and that water is stirred now. Let us say even the water is pure and clean, okay, but if water is moving, you cannot judge and you cannot see what exactly that coin is. Okay, we cannot see that. So as soon as, so this is necessary condition, it will come here in these verses, in this chapter. So to attend to that, so self is not something to be invented, okay, it is always, it is there. Only this, what is stopping, what is obliterating or what is obstructing its direct realization is this ignorance. Because I am thinking, I am this body mind and body mind complex, and I am so many upadhis, and I have created this Frankenstein, and I am now trying to run away from it. I do not want to live with it anymore, but I have created it. It is not going to go away. वो छोटा सा स्टोरी स्वामी जी स्टोरी बताते हैं ना, that some person, he got something, that magic lamp, okay, he brushed it, and that fellow that came out, and क्या हुआ? So now this story is little bit different. So there is this ghost is there, okay. Now he says that because you have liberated me, I am your servant, and but only condition is you have to constantly keep me engaged, or else I will break your neck. So it's terrible. So he says, okay, do this. You give me one beautiful palace. You give me this. You give me that. In a wish, everything is presented. This fellow is not able to think of what he will tell him. Everything is okay. So he is running away, and this ghost is running away after him, and he goes and he take shelter of one sadhu. He says, Swamiji, please, Maharaj, save me, save me. This is what has happened. He said, okay. So, you do one thing, ask him, show him a dog and ask him to straighten his tail. So, meaning, so this is the funny story. Moral of this thing is, so that we cannot escape from this Frankenstein. So we have, it is created from us, it lives in us, we are the substratum of it. This lives in, within and upon us. Now, so who we are, when we say I am this, I am this, especially when we say, let's say, to lose body consciousness, it happens pretty easy. If you are too tired, well fed, and you sleep, such a deep sleep, you can lose. But to lose your mind is not easy, and it does not happen at will. So, how that experience can be brought out? Only obstruction is this your idea of ignorance that I am not Atman, I am this. But Atman along with this. That mana, deha, buddhi, sanyukta atma. That I am alive, that I am consciousness, but along with this. This idea is called as jiva. Jiva entrapped in this body-mind complex. The consciousness entrapped in this body-mind complex is called as jiva. Now, jiva is in bandhana because he thinks these things are true, real, identifies with these things, and everything else which he has gathered. My good experiences, my bad experiences, my strength, weaknesses, how do I think? I am woman, I am man, I am old, young, etc. Whatever you identified with, whatever you think you are. Many times, very proudly we say these lines, तुम मुझे ऐसा मत समझना, मैं ऐसा हूँ, तुम मुझे जानते नहीं क्या, मैं ऐसे बात में एकदम विश्वास नहीं करती, ये मेरा प्रिंसिपल है, मैं मतलब मुझे ये लगेगा ही, मुझे ये बिल्कुल नहीं चलेगा, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. दिस इज हु यू आर. This bundle of so many configurations, and this is exactly opposite to what is the truth. So this is called ignorance. It is piled upon ignorance. So they say you remove the ignorance, you do not have to invent the knowledge. Knowledge is always there. So only objective now is to have this moksha, this liberation, to have this knowledge is to remove that. So they show the way, let your mind settle, it will reveal itself. That's all. Nothing must to be done. It is very simple. So that's what it is. You realize that this dream is broken. This dream is broken. Now, this, though, as long as your body exists, because every person has taken birth and it was allotted certain portion of his previous karmas to enjoy and suffer its fruits. He or she will have to enjoy or suffer those fruits of the karma. Till then this body has to last. It will last till then drop off and over. Because now that individual, that which is based upon this ignorance, I am this body, I am this mind, I am so and so and so and so, lot of the bundle of it, he does not identify. That link is broken now. So who will born? So this is the idea of liberation. This is the idea of moksha. So allegorically putting various ways, that if you are the devotee of Narayana, you just take his name once, that will happen, etc., etc. So we see that, and we can very clearly understand that these are to incentivize people, motivate people. Why it cannot happen? It may happen if provided, like this question came up in the conversation of Sri Ramakrishna and also with Sarada Devi. So mother said, so she had gone to Jagannath Puri. Okay, Jagannath Puri. And there is a belief that whoever sees the Jagannath in that Ratha, Rathecha Vamanam Društva Punarjanmana Vidyate. This is, now it is allegorically putting to something other. This body is called as Ratha. Vamanam is the short one, the dwarf one. Okay, because that Vamana avatar was also dwarf. Vamana means dwarf. This dwarf one means this Atman. In this body, if you see this, in this Deha, you see this Atman, you will never be born again. That is the truth. That is the idea. This is called as the Jivan Mukti. This is very clear. Our concept of Mukti is not I will die and then I will be liberated. We do not have that. We do not trust anybody. Hindus do not trust anybody. Even Bhagwan they will not trust. बोलते वो कुछ नहीं, मरने के बाद क्या मिलेगा, वो कुछ नहीं, अभी दिखाओ क्या है, तो कैश में बिजनेस, कोई चेक वेक नहीं चलेगा, ठीक है कि नहीं. सो दैट्स व्हाई वी ऑलवेज हैव दीज वर्ड्स इह हियर इटसेल्फ. Here when we say, it refers to two things, on this earth and in this body. That's why Arjuna is also asking the same question. Dehesmin Madhusudana. He very particularly asked this. Krishna had not referred to, Krishna had referred to the time of passing away. But he used the word, Dehesmin. Now, our idea of Mukti is this. So, Rathecha Vamanam Društva Punarjanmana Vidyate. This is, now it is also, Vamana is Vishnu avatar. This is Jagannath is Balak form, is the Kishore, young child of, that is the form of the Krishna, that Jagannath. Okay. He is not elder one. He is the Balak, child Krishna. That is the Jagannath. So in that Ratha, one who sees that Jagannath, that Vamanam, so he will not be born again. So that is many belief of this devotee. They go to Jagannath Puri, this yatra, etc. So somebody asks mother, so whether all these people, okay, whether they will attain liberation. Mother very categorically and totally unemotionally he reserves that no. She says that only those are nirvasana who have become freed of all desires. They alone will get free. So in Jivan Mukti Vivek, these are the Vasanakshay and Manonash. They are the necessary prerequisite steps for this Atmadhyana. Vasanakshay is the Prakaran itself, is also the Prakaran in Yoga Vasishtha. So Vasanakshay is very, so mothers very emphatically says. So, but Sri Ramakrishna had said that, Varanasi, somebody who dies there in Varanasi and burned on the Manikarnika Ghat, he will be liberated. And many places it is written. So how that person will be liberated? Sri Ramakrishna, but he has explained that Mahadev himself comes and says the Ram mantra in the ear of that fellow who is lying on the pyre there, and that's how he is liberated. Now there is this part that which cannot be ignored, and there are the sufficient evidence of these things, that there are powerful people who has so much might that they can intervene in your course. So they have the power to intervene in your prarabdha and whatever your course of progression. There are tremendously mighty people. So you cannot deny that is there. There are sufficient evidences everywhere. They have that power. Now, if this is the case, then, but these are exceptional things, and why that mighty one will be motivated So if there is a probably sufficient reason, or by his own sweet will he does that, then there is nothing we can say. There is nothing we can say. So this is always, this path, this is always open. So like Sri Ramakrishna says, that Raja Maharaj said that these beings are real. Rama, Krishna, they are not your beliefs. They are not your beliefs. He says that Ishwarya Roop, they are Satya. It is not the, figment of your imagination. It is not your imagination. So, about liberation, but in our dharma, in our parampara, always self-effort is so much emphasized. And insincerity is somehow cannot be rewarded. Mahapurush Maharaj and even Sri Ramakrishna also. Sri Ramakrishna, and I feel in the life of Sri Krishna also, they are ready to pardon any sins of yours except one. That is called as hypocrisy. Sri Ramakrishna was extremely distasteful about this thing. Mahapurush Maharaj said this thing about him, that he could pardon any sin of any individual, but not hypocrisy. Do not do that. So our whole goal is, Sri Ramakrishna said that saralta ele Ishwar labh hoy. So if you become simple and sort out your complicatedness. So one Swamiji made very nice difference between this complicated nature and complex nature when explaining simplicity. So complicated is different and complex is different. So anyhow, he says that this saralata, it comes in the last birth. So this is the easiest way probably. If you are simple, you can attain the God. You can attain to God. Now, the Sri Ramakrishna, when he has completed his sadhana of this intense sadhana of 12 years. Now in his life, it is written by his disciple Swami Sardananda Maharaj. So Swamiji says that Sri Ramakrishna arrived at certain conclusions at the end of his sadhana. So one of it was that he does not have mukti or liberation like other people. That he will come again and again for the good of the world to establish the dharma. Okay. So now point is that there are memoirs of such devotees, that there are indeed such lokas. How do you accept or deny it? What is the way? You do not have anything to do with it. So to judge over it, to judge those things. So anyhow, the part is that, so the idea of liberations according to Dvaitins, Vishishta Dvaitins and Advaitins, it can be different. Like Vishishta Dvaitins, devotees, they ask for the different liberation. They want to live with their Ishta, Sarupya, Samipya, Sayujya, etc. Salokya, Sarupya, Salokya, Samipya, Sayujya, etc. etc. So how do I deny these ideas if these do not exist? Now here in this chapter again these two ideas will come, that there are the two paths, one by which one does not return and one by which one returns back. Swami Ranganathananji, he was the president of the Ramakrishna order. He was very erudite Swamiji, a great tapasvi. Now he said in his that he says that I do not want liberation, I want to come again and again to do the Thakur's work. Now that's why important point is, so these ideas of liberation will also has to be considered from the disposition and mindset of those individuals. All right. So this is the gamut of this idea, how this bandha, how this moksha, and how this liberation. What else? Okay. All right. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.